So this video here, man, is dedicated to my grandmother. It's not her birthday, but she is 87 years old. You know what I mean? Means everything in the world to me. And when I see titles like this, she's the first person that pops into my mind. So this video here is the oldest man in the world breaks the silence before his death and reveals his secret. And why that's special to me is because I always ask my grandmother, I'm like, yo, what is your secret? Because she's moving really well. She, you know what I'm saying? She looks good for like all of that type of stuff. And I'm like, I've seen you eat stuff like fish sticks. She eats like pig feet. Like, I always tell her, she don't eat it often, like once in a blue moon. She eats stuff like that. And I'm just like, how? And I'm running around here trying to drink celery juice. I'm trying to do this, that, and third. And she's eating her French fries and her rotisseries and her canned vegetables and all that kind of stuff. And I'm running around here trying to get fresh produce and everything, trying to make sure I stay healthy. Like, it makes me like sometimes sit back and be like, am I doing it right? Or should I be following her path? Because clearly she's doing something right. You know what I mean? But anyway, this video is dedicated to her. So love you, Grandma. And we call her Nana. So love you, Nana. Let's check this out. Here we go.
Most people hope for a long and healthy life, but the truth is that none of us know what fate has in store, and you never know when your time is up. But it seems like some people in the world have been given a special chance to experience much more time on Earth than the average person, living to incredibly old ages. From the oldest person of all time to the man who just lost the title of oldest living man, here's the 20 oldest humans to ever live. Number 20. Jean Clement. With a lifespan of 122 years and 164 days.
122 years, bro. That's beyond a blessing, man. Can you imagine what she's seen?
Jean-Louise Clement was a French supercentenarian and the oldest person whose age is fully known. An incredible 44,724 days in total. Medical research on her health and way of life was prompted by her long life. She's the first individual whose longevity above 120 years has been independently verified. Census data show that Clement outlived both her daughter and grandchild. She was widely believed to be the oldest person alive in January 1988. And in 1995, at the age of 120, she was named the oldest person to have ever lived. On February 21st, 1875, Clement was born in Bouches-du-Rhône, France. Her older brother...
1800s she was born in, bro. I would have loved to sit down and just listen to her talk. You know what I mean? Somebody obviously would have had to translate it, but I would have just loved to hear the stories. 1800s. Do you all know anybody who was born in the 1800s? I don't.
1875, Clement was born in Bouches-du-Rhône, France. Her older brother Francois reached an age of 97. Her father Nicholas, a shipbuilder, reached the age of 93, and her mother Margaret Gilly, who came from a family of millers, reached the age of 68. At 111 years old, Clement won the title of France's oldest living person in 1986. When she reached 112, Guinness World Records recognized her as the oldest living person in the world. When Guinness declared her the oldest person ever in October 17, 95, her standing was further elevated. Clement is regarded as the best documented supercentenarian ever, outliving every previous proven human longevity. Before we go on, like this video, smash that subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now, or the centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Now the question is, right, because some people don't want to. You know what I mean? And I know that's a tough subject to talk about, but some people don't want to live that long. I personally want to live. You know what I mean? I want to continue to see. I just want to hang on as long as I can, but some people don't. And that's reality.
Time for the rare topic. The most popular TikTok user this week is a Buddhist monk from Thailand, rather than Charlie D'Amelio or Cabby Lane. The oldest man in the world breaks the silence before his death and reveals his secret. In February, videos of him began spreading online when it was reported that he was an incredible 163 years old. However, this isn't actually true. Lung Fo Yai is over 100 years old, and his videos on TikTok have captivated people, despite the fact that it's physically impossible for someone to survive to that age. The monk attributes his longevity to his Buddhist lifestyle of self-discipline, meditation, and moderation with all things. And it's true that Buddhists very often live long lives. Do you think this lifestyle can give you a long life? What other things should a person do to live more than 100 years? Remember to comment down below.
I might have to incorporate like meditation. Like Queen does meditation, but I haven't grasped the concept yet of being able to do it. You know what I mean? I gotta work on it.
With the hashtag rare topic. And now on to the next topic. Number 19. Chitetsu Watanabe. Chitetsu Watanabe, a Japanese supercentenarian who lived from March 5th, 1907 to 23rd of February 2020, was the oldest person still alive whose age is recognized by the Gerontology Research Group at the time of his passing. Just 11 days before he passed away, Guinness World Records recognized him as the oldest man alive. On March 5th, 1907, Watanabe was born in Joetsu, Niigata, in Japan's Uwakarahara region. He was the first of Haruzo and Miya Watanabe's 8 children. Both of his parents were farmers. Watanabe joined Dai Nippon Meijin Sugar after graduating from an agricultural high school and relocated to Taiwan to assist in the negotiation of contracts for sugarcane plantations there. Watanabe succeeded Tora Kosugi, who passed away on December 11th as the oldest living person in the Niigata prefecture.
And still got a good laughing sense of humor. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I have to be able to maintain my sense of humor, man.
Masazo Nonaka, 113, passed away on January 20th, 2019, making him the oldest living man still alive in Japan. Watanabe overtook Nonaka as the oldest man still alive whose age has been verified by the Gerontology Research Group following Nonaka's passing. However, at the time, there were other contenders for the title of oldest man in the world, including Thomas Picales Figueroa, Dominga Villa Avicengo, and Gustav Gerneth, all of whom have since passed away, whose ages have not been verified. Number 18. Chio Miyako. Chio Miyako was a validated Japanese supercentenarian who was the oldest living person in the world from the 21st of April 2018 until her death 3 months later. She's presently the 3rd oldest Japanese person ever, behind Kane Tanaka and Nabi Tajima, the 9th oldest verified person overall. Miyako was the 4th of 5 children and was born on May 2nd, 1901, in the Japanese village of Yuasa, in the Wakayama prefecture. Her parents managed a paper shop even though the mandarin orange industry in her town was well known. She was reared as the family's oldest kid, where she had a younger brother, since her elder siblings had all passed away at a young age. She liked the most of her schoolwork in elementary school, but detested physical education. She pursued higher education at an Osaka telegraph school after finishing elementary school, where she trained to be a telegraph operator. She met her future husband Shoji while she was studying in Osaka. Shoji later went to work for the Japanese National Railways, which meant that they frequently moved, including spending some time in Beijing, China. At the age of 117 years, 81 days, Miyako passed away in Nishiku, Yokohama, Kanagawa Prefecture, on July 22nd, 2018. Her death occurred immediately after Guinness World Records recognized her as the oldest person still alive. Number 17. Gertrude Weaver. After Misao Okawa passed away on April 1st, 2015, Gertrude Tompon Weaver held the title of oldest person alive for a brief period of time.
Does anybody still name their kids Gertrude? I don't think I've heard that in any of these new modern names. Like, what's up with some of the Gertrudes? Are y'all gonna bring those back or what? We not having no more kids. So don't look towards me. But I wonder if anybody gonna use that name again.
She was mostly African American, Caucasian American, and Native American. Weaver's tenure as the oldest surviving person in the world was the 2nd shortest in history, after only Emma Tillman's 4-day tenure. Her son Joe was still alive and turning 93 the year of her 116th birthday in 2014, and he turned 94 the day after she passed away. At the age of 97, Joe passed away on September 9th, 2018. Weaver, who was 116 years and 276 days old, passed away from pneumonia on April 6, 2015. She was the 3rd to last American and the 4th to last living individual from the 1800s. Number 16. Kane Tanaka. After Chio Miyako passed away on July 22, 2018, Kane Tanaka held the title of the oldest person alive. She passed away at the age of 119 years and 107 days. She's the second oldest verified person ever after Jean Clement and the oldest verified Japanese person. Tanaka, the third daughter and the seventh child of her parents Kumayoshi and Kuma Ota, was born Kane Ota on January 2nd, 1903, in the town of Wajido, now part of Higashiku, Fukuoka, on the southern island of Kyushu. Tanaka had stated that she hoped to reach the age of 120 and attributed her longevity to her belief in God, her family, rest, hope, a healthy diet, and her practice of mathematics. Tanaka suffered from a number of serious diseases and at the age of 35 contracted paratyphoid fever with her adoptive daughter. At the age of 45, she underwent surgery for pancreatic cancer. Tanaka was 103 years old when she underwent surgery after receiving a colon cancer diagnosis in 2006. 4 years later, her second son and his wife produced a book titled In Good and Bad Times, 107 Years Old, in which they made note of her life and longevity. In September 2017, KBC sat down with the 114-year-old woman for an interview.
Like, do y'all think we'll get to the point to where we see somebody make it to 200 years old? Like, if they're making it to 120, I think it could possibly happen. You know what I'm saying? I think it could possibly happen.
Tanaka's claim of longevity was officially validated on March 9th when Guinness World Records officially awarded her with the titles of World's Oldest Living Person and World's Oldest Living Woman. Number 15. Mbah Gotho. Mbah Gotho, in Indonesian, is the oldest person still living at 145 years old. He was born on December 31st, 1870, according to a document.
145. He's done lapped some of us several times. 145. Wow.
Gotho's last remaining wish is to pass away at this age. Even back in 1992, he had a tombstone constructed, but of course, it was never used. He's lived longer than his 11 siblings, 4 spouses, and 8 kids. Mbah Gotho experienced both world wars, the invention of television, the modern automobile, airplanes, and a number of other innovations that are now totally taken for granted. He's cited as saying, "What I want is to die," by a local news network. The Indonesian Record Office has verified his date of birth as December 31st, 1870. When asked about the secret to his longevity, he simply responded, "The recipe is just patience." However, Gotho won't be included in the official list of the longest living individuals in the world until all of his documents have undergone independent verification. Gotho needs assistance with bathing and feeding during these last few months due to his drastically weakened condition. However, this Central Javan centurion makes an effort to use his time wisely. Despite the fact that his bad vision prevents him from watching television, he always makes an effort to listen to the radio. Number 14. Christian Mortensen. Christian Mortensen was a Danish-American supercentenarian who was the oldest verified male in recorded history at the time of his death. At the ultimate age of 115 years, 252 days, Mortensen's longevity record remained for nearly 15 years before being exceeded in age by Joan Mankimura of Japan in December 2012. The second oldest person from this region, Astrid Zachrisson from Sweden, passed away on the exact day of her 113th birthday, making Mortensen, a Danish native, a notable outlier even among other Scandinavian supercentenarians. Mortensen is the only Nordic-born person ever known to have lived past their 113th birthday. Having immigrated to the United States from his native Denmark in his early 20s, he held the record for the oldest known immigrant until Italian-American woman Diana Manfredini narrowly outlived him by 5 days in December 2012.
Wow.
Just 2 weeks before Joan Mankimura would surpass his record for male longevity. On April 25, 1998, Chris Mortensen passed away in San Rafael, California, USA. He's also the oldest man to have ever been born in Denmark and the oldest man to have ever passed away in the United States. He was the last Nordic person to have survived through their 113th birthday and the last recognized person to have been born in 1882. Number 13. Nabi Tajima. Tajima was born on August 4th, 1900 in Araki, an area of what was then Wan Village, on the westernmost part of Kikaijima Island, Kagoshima Prefecture. Later in life, she resided in Kikai, which is on the same island and also part of the Kagoshima Prefecture. She had 9 children, 7 boys and 2 daughters, 28 grandkids, 58 great-grandchildren, 64 great...
Whoa. How many grandkids?
daughters, 28 grandkids, 58
28 grands.
great-grandchildren, 64 great-great-grandchildren, and 14 great-great-great-grandchildren at the time of her 117th birthday in 2017. On April 21st, 2018, Tajima, who was 117 years and 260 days old, passed away in a hospital in Kikaijima, Kagoshima, Japan, due to natural causes. According to reports, she'd been in the hospital since January of that year. Tajima is presently the 5th oldest validated person ever recorded and the 2nd oldest validated Japanese person ever. Following the passing of an unidentified Tokyo lady on September 27th, 2015, and Violet Brown on September 15th, 2017, she became the oldest living person in the world and Japan, respectively. Number 12. Walter Brewing. On September 21st, 1896, Walter Brewing was born in Melrose, Minnesota, to John Brewing and Cora Morehouse Brewing. He had 2 brothers and 2 sisters as siblings. He then claimed to remember events from the 1800s, with the oldest recollection he could recall being of his grandpa, a Civil War soldier, telling him tales about the conflict. His family relocated to Des Moines, South Dakota in 1901 when he was just 4 or 5 years old, and he attended school there for 9 years until his parents divorced in 1910 when he was 14 years old. His family didn't have access to plumbing, water, or electricity. His siblings lived to be 78, 85, 91, and 100 years old, while both sets of grandparents survived into their 90s. There's just 1 niece and 3 nephews left.
I definitely need his regiment. Look at the way he moving, fam. He look like he can go play a pickup game of basketball right now if he wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, he's moving really well, bro.
Living in his family. Along with great nieces and great nephews, they're all currently in their 80s. Brewing stopped attending school in 1910 and started scrubbing baking pans for around $2.50 per week. In September 2006, on the occasion of his 110th birthday, Brewing was recognized as the oldest retired railroader in the century. Brewing was the 2nd to last person still alive who was born in the 1800s at the time of his passing. Since all other verified 1800s born males passed away in 2009 or before, Brewing and Joan Mankimura of Japan are the only ones to live into the 2010s. Number 11. Joan Rudave. The oldest known individual in Spanish history, Joan Rudave Mal was a supercentenarian from Spain. His birthplace was Majorca. After the passing of Japanese supercentenarian Yukichi Chungaji in September 2003, and Italian Maria Teresa Farmola Lingorio in May 2003, he was declared the oldest man still alive in both Europe and the entire globe. At age 113, he was the oldest man to ever exceed that position. Only 4 men in history have unquestionably survived to be 114 years or older, and Rudave is one of them. Before the end of December 1889, his mother Catalina Mal Mercedes passed away at the age of 25. He was once a village council member on S. Migjorn Grand, and worked as a cobbler until retiring in 1954. He followed a Mediterranean diet that includes breads, tomatoes, olive oil, and seafood. Rudave was able to ride a bicycle and walk without assistance until his passing. He enjoyed singing, playing football, and playing guitar. He passed away in Majorca, Spain at the age of 114 after battling a cold for a few days. He was the...
So I would definitely love to sit down with him and just ask him, like, what did he think of today's time? You know what I mean? If he's still alive, I didn't hear whether or not they say he passed or not, but if he's still, I would love to sit down and ask, you know, what do you think about times now opposed to when you were coming up? And what's your view on things? Love to hear it.
The final recognized living male who could be identified as having been born in the 1880s. He's the 6th oldest guy in history who can be authenticated. Wow. Number 10. Tecla Junowick. On June 10th, 1906, Tecla Junowick was born in Krasoplo, Austria-Hungary, now Ukraine, as Tecla Dada. Krupso joined the Rodzel Commune after Poland regained its freedom in 1918. Then after World War I, when the boundary was altered, it joined the USSR. Finally, Ukraine became independent in 1991. Junowick's parents were Jan and Katarzyna Dadak, and she had 2 younger sisters, Rosalia and Katazarnia. Their mother passed away during the First World War, and their father was employed by Count Karol Lankarskorski. On May 11th, 2020, Junowick surpassed Goldie Michelson's previous record of 113 years, 335 days to become the oldest verified individual ever to be born in modern-day Ukraine. Currently, Junowick is the 6th oldest validated European ever, behind Maria Giuseppe Robocci, Lucelle Randon, Emin Morano, and Jean Bott. She's also the oldest non-French and non-Italian European confirmed to have ever lived. Number 9.
Seeing her makes me think of Betty White, man. I miss my Betty White.
Jeram Pal Singh. The 120-year-old Indian runner Jeram Singh Gouda has controversially said that he's the oldest marathon runner in the world. Gouda, who hails from the Mirid hamlet of Gouda and declares to have been born on October 6, 1897, is a farmer by trade. Since he was a teenager, he says he's been running. He responds that maintaining a restricted diet is key to maintaining his fitness. Since he was a little boy, he's maintained a strict, healthy lifestyle and attributes his longevity to a well-balanced diet that includes homemade chutney, mineral water, and lemon juice. I follow a rigorous healthy diet and I'm in good health. Nearly 40 years ago, I quit consuming ghee and other fatty foods. I also don't drink or smoke, he said. He's always been a staunch vegetarian. The assertion that Gouda is 120 years old has drawn a lot of criticism. Gouda claims to be 120 years old, although he lacks a birth certificate to back up this claim. He does, however, cite his passport, voter ID card, and PAN card, a tax identification in India, all of which list 1897 as his year of birth, and all are issued by the government of India. Gouda has won more than 20 medals in national and international athletic competitions in his age group, including a gold medal at the Malaysian Championships in 2014. Number 8. Erna Zahn. Henry and Olga Miller welcomed Erna Amelia Augusta Miller into the world on April 14, 1908 in Winnebago County, Wisconsin, USA. Adeline and Madge are her younger sisters, and Herbert, her older brother, were her siblings. She loved swimming, needlework, and horseback riding as a little girl, frequently doing so on Sundays. Some of her favorite historical experiences include driving to Mount Rushmore while it was still being built while sitting out in the passenger seat of a vehicle. At 113 years and 60 days old, Zahn overtook Bertha Harris to hold the record for the oldest person to be born in Wisconsin on June 13, 2021. On January 8, 2022, Zahn's age was confirmed by Robert Young and Waclaw Jan Kotzgek and approved by the GRG. She overtook Anna Stower to become the oldest person to ever call Minnesota home on June 21, 2020 at the age of 114 years, 68 days. At the age of 114 years, 117 days, Zahn passed away at the Oaks Hill Living Center in New Ulm, Minnesota on August 9, 2022. She was the 4th oldest validated American-born person, the 8th oldest validated person in the world, and the 3rd oldest validated person still living in the United States at the time of her passing. She was also...
And that was just, 2 months ago?
Also one of the last Americans alive who was born in the decade of the 1900s. Number 7. Edna Parker. Edna Parker was reared on a traditional agricultural diet of meat and starch in Shelby County, Indiana, close to Bengal and Hendricks Township. She was born on a farm there. She graduated from Franklin High School before enrolling in courses at Franklin College to earn a technical credential. After 2 years of working in a 2-room schoolhouse in Smithland, Indiana, Parker married Earl Parker, a neighbor, on April 12, 1913. On February 23, 1939, Earl passed away. They had 2 sons, Clifford and Earl Jr., both of whom she outlived. She has 5 grandkids, 14 great-grandchildren, and 13 great-great-grandchildren as of April 2008. Both of her sisters passed away. Georgia lived to reach 99 years old, while Opal passed away at the age of 88. She turned 115, and
I always love to hear them mention out and list out how many grandkids and great-grands they have, because it's just... You know, that whole keep the name alive and keep things going means something to me.
Heritage House Convalescent Center threw her 2 different birthday celebrations. Because she likes seeing balloons fly away into the sky, they each had 115 multicolored balloons released. While the private family party took place on her actual birthday, April 20th, 2008, the public event took place on April 18th, 2008. She was one of just 21 individuals whose 115th birthday had been verified at the time. On November 26, 2008, Parker passed away in an Indiana nursing home at the age of 115 years and 22 days old. Number 6. Elizabeth Bolden. On August 15, 1890, Elizabeth Bolden was born in Somerville, Tennessee, USA. Bolden is the record holder for the state of Tennessee. At age 114, she suffered a stroke, which left her unable to talk and necessitated care from a feeding tube. After Maria Copvilla passed away on August 27, 2006, she held the record for the world's oldest living person until her own death at the age of 116 years, 118 days. Bolden had 40 grandchildren, 75 great-grandchildren, 150 great-great-grandchildren, 220 great-great-great-grandchildren, and 75 great-great-great-grandchildren at the time of her 116th birthday in August 2006. Number 5.
Wow.
Emma Morano.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Italian supercentenarian Emma Marina Linguina Morano lived from 29th of November 1899 to April 15th, 2017. She was 117 years and 137 days old when she passed away on April 15th, 2017. She was the last person still alive who had a documented 1800s birth certificate. When questioned in 2013 about the secret to her longevity, she responded that she thought optimistically about the future above all else, ate 3 eggs a day, occasionally drank a glass of homemade grappa, and occasionally indulged in chocolate.
Like, what does a 1800 birth certificate, if there was one, look like? What does your paperwork even look like? How can they even verify? Like, they literally possibly would have to, like, what's the way to verify? Or do you just take their word for it?
Age 115, she was still by herself in her house. In 2016, she said that remaining unmarried and eating only cookies contributed to her long life.
She said remaining unmarried. Wow. Well, for some of us, ain't looking good then, huh?
After Maria Rediale passed away in April 2nd, 2013, Morano surpassed her as the oldest person still residing in Italy and all of Europe. She gave a brief live TV interview to a RAI broadcaster on her 114th birthday. Pope Francis congratulated Morano on becoming 116 years old. Morano passed away on April 15th, 2017 at the age of 117 at her Verbania, Italy residence. Number 4. Bessa Cooper. Richard Brown and Barbesha Angeline Berry welcomed their son Bessa Cooper into the world on August 26, 1896 in Sullivan, Tennessee, USA. She completed her education at East Tennessee Normal School in 1916. She held a job as a teacher. In 2009, Bessa took over as Georgia's senior citizen. The 8th oldest individual ever recorded, Bessa Cooper passed away on December 14, 2012 at the age of 116 years, 100 days. Number 3. Susanna Mushet Jones. The third of Susanna Mushet's 11 siblings were born in Alabama's Lowndes County on July 6, 1899. Her grandparents' land was farmed by her parents, who were sharecroppers. Based on census information, her grandmother, a former slave, apparently lived for 117 years. She used to do labor in the fields as a young lady, but she was determined to leave that difficult life behind.
One common thing I'm starting to hear as well, that it's almost like these ages are hereditary. Anybody else getting that? You're hearing that their parents and their grandparents were living on up in age. That's what I'm starting to get from some, and not all of these, but I'm seeing a little common theme as well. You know what I mean?
She had more than 100 nieces and nephews and lived in the Vandalia Senior Center in East New York, Brooklyn. After turning 100, Mushet Jones continued to work as a hall monitor in the Vandalia Senior Homes until she was 106 years old. Jones slept for roughly 10 hours every day, never smoked, drank alcohol, partied, wore cosmetics, or colored her hair. She said that eating bacon and not getting married for a long time contributed to her longevity.
See, people telling me I need to slow down on the bacon eating. Look at her. No, she's not. I can eat bacon, man. Let me have my bacon in peace.
Number 2. Jidoemon Kimura. Jidoemon Kimura was born Kinjiro Miyake on April 19, 1897, in Kyotango, Kyoto, Japan. His parents, farmers Morizo and Fusa Miyake, raised rice and vegetables and had him in the fishing town of Kamiukawa. He was the second best student in his class when he graduated from school at the age of 14. Kimura spent 45 years working at the neighborhood post offices, beginning when he was 17 and ending when he was 65, retiring in 1962. In the 1920s, he also had a position in a government communication department in Korea. He married Yae Kimura, his neighbor, once he got back. He changed his name to Jiroe Mankimura, becoming the 9th member of his wife's family to do so, because his wife's family was without a male heir. After retirement, he continued to work as a farmer, assisting his son in farming until he was 90 years old. Yae passed away in 1978 at the age of 74. At the age of 116 years, 54 days, Kimura passed away naturally on June 12, 2013. He was survived by 5 grandchildren, 13 grandkids, 25 great-grandchildren, and 13 great-great-grandchildren. After Misao Akawa, Nabi Tajima, and Kane Tanaka, Kimura died as the oldest validated male ever, one of the 10 oldest people ever, and one of the oldest Japanese individuals ever. However, since many people have aged, Kimura is currently the 22nd oldest person. Kimura was the last validated person still alive who was born in 1897 and the oldest validated person to pass away in 2013. He's now the oldest legitimate Kyoto Prefecture resident ever. Number 1. Leandra Becerra. The oldest lady in the world, who is Mexican, has turned 127 years old. Yes,
127. 200 is gonna be possible, y'all. I think so.
127, and she says that sleeping is the key to her long life. She was born in Tula, Tamaulipas on August 31st, 1887, making her the oldest living person ever recorded. According to her paperwork, her longevity is a result of sleeping for days on end, eating chocolate, and avoiding marriage. Her family also described her as a fighter to the Mexican newspaper El Horizonte, and they meant it in the most literal sense possible. According to all accounts, she has had a very colorful life. She claims to have been a member of an all-female band of warriors during the Mexican Revolution. She's lost a number of loved ones, including 5 of her children and a number of her 20 grandkids, so surviving that long is not all good news. It's a very astounding story, considering that one of those grandkids who passed away only last year was 90 years old. Additionally, she says that staying busy keeps her healthy, and she only just stopped knitting and sewing around 2 years ago. Do you want to live?
That's another thing I don't see people doing. That was in the video, but that's another thing I don't see too many people doing anymore. Knitting. I used to see my grandmother do it all the time. You know what I mean? All the time. But yeah, man. They kept saying not being married, getting lots of sleep, which I got to do better at. You know what I mean? Some of us got to do better at. Me and Queen definitely got to do better at that. I do better than she do, but yeah, we can do better. And that was it. You didn't hear no really, really strict diets. You heard the one man, but you didn't hear too many strict diets. You heard a lot of not getting married and, you know what I mean? And that's just, I think that's basically saying stress. Trying to keep your stress levels low and getting a lot of rest. Stress levels low, lots of rest. So, like I started off the video, this video is dedicated to my grandmother. She is 87. Will be 88 this coming 2023 in March. And yeah, man, if you got grandparents still around and you're able to talk and love on them, man, do so. Do so. Show them some love. That's what I like to do. All right? It's your boy L. Y'all stick around and stay tuned. I'm gone. Peace.